Welcome to the Nerdstalgic podcast with your host, the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm.
Howdy beans, and welcome back to another exciting, scary, spooky, and creepy and terrifying episode of the Nerdstalgic podcast. I'm your host, Luke the Ghoul. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all good, as per usual. Before we get into today's spooky, epic topic, we're going to do housekeeping because I like to keep my house nice and clean. So, number one, make sure that you follow me on Twitter at nerdstalgic_pod. Number two, if you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you listen to this on Spotify on your mobile phone, don't forget to leave a star rating. Also, happy Halloween, everybody. This is the end of the month of Halloween. This is my Halloween extravaganza. This is my Halloween special. And I decided to go out with a bang, to do a game that absolutely terrifies me, and a game I've been putting off for years because I am a big wuss. But I finally decided it is time to cover this game. So today's topic, we're going to be looking at Alien Isolation from 2014. And I decided to do it as part of my £5 bargain or bin series because I actually did buy this game for £5 at CX, and I figured, you know what, it's going to be a good one. You know, it's going to be interesting to see, is it worth being terrified for £5? I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it is. Actually, haven't started playing it yet. Again, I'm absolutely terrified. But we will get into that bit shortly. So for anybody who doesn't know what my £5 bargain or bin game series is, that I go out and buy games from either markets or car boots or retro game shops that are £5 or less. And I basically try to come to the conclusion through playing them if they're worth the bargain or not. Would I pay more? Would I have paid less? Or did I get a decent price at £5? I will only do games that are £5 or less. So not £5.50, not £6, not £7. It has to be £5 to £4.99, all the way down to a penny, basically. That is the criteria. And yeah, so I managed to get this one for dead on £5 from CX. Like I said, I've been putting off it for years. And like I said, I'm absolutely terrified to play it. I love the Aliens franchise. I do. I've watched all the Alien movies. The only Alien movie I haven't watched as of recording this is the new Alien Romulus, but I've heard tons of incredible things about it. It went back to practical, which if you know me, if you listen to any of my other reviews, you know that I love practical effects. They will always save the day when it comes to movies, and I'm glad that they've decided to go practical effects again with the newer movie, so I'm excited to watch it whenever I get round to it. But with this game, it came out 2014. It rocked the gaming space. Everybody was playing it, streaming it. I remember watching a bit of a playthrough for it and realizing, no, this is not for me. I've played up Alien games in the past. I think the last one I played was Alien Fireteam Elite. Before then, it was Alien vs. Predator, which was another Sony game. And this is probably one that I was like, you know what? I want to play, but I'm absolutely terrified. And I figured, I'm being quite brave recently. If anybody who's been listening to the podcast for a while, you've probably seen that I have covered Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake. And I figured while playing them, and also I went through, in my own time, I played through The Evil Within 1 and 2. I never completed Evil Within 1. I couldn't do it. But Evil Within 2, I managed to go through that and complete it completely. But I figured because I was being brave with all these games, these survival horrors, I think it's time, to dive in, to be heroic and just give it a go. And this is what I'm doing today. So we're looking at Alien Isolation. I have the Nostromo edition, which comes with all the DLC. I won't be reviewing the DLC in this review, by the way. I'll probably play the DLC in my own time because a lot of the DLC is just more of the same, just in like different areas, different characters. But I am very, very much excited, but I am also terrified. If you could not hear it in my voice, that this sort of introduction makes it real. Now that I'm doing the introduction, I have to now go off and play the game, so I have no choice. You know, I have set this, set the cement. It's currently drying. I'm going to have to continue the foundations, otherwise it's not going to look right. So yeah, I'm a bit terrified. As for the game's plot, so discover the true meaning of fear in Alien Isolation, a survival horror set in an atmosphere of constant dread and mortal danger. 15 years after the events of Alien, Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda, enters a desperate battle for survival on a mission to unravel the truth behind her mother's disappearance. As Amanda, you will navigate through an increasingly violent world as you find yourself confronted on all sides by a panicked, desperate population and an unpredictable, ruthless alien. Underpowered and unprepared, you must scavenge resources, improvise solutions, and use your wits, and not just to succeed in your mission, but simply to stay alive. That itself just sounds terrifying. I know a bit about this game. I know that you have you have weapons, but they don't work. Like you get a gun and stuff like that, but it doesn't work against the alien. You can't kill the alien, so majority of the time you spend going around and hiding and that sort of thing. I know you've also got androids and you have humans as well. And I know that as you go through the game, it gets relatively harder because the alien, if I remember correctly, the alien is coded so that the alien always knows where you are at all times. But I feel like it always knows where you are, but it's always blind, if that makes sense. Of like, it knows where you are, but at the same stage, it doesn't, if that makes sense. So you have a sort of ability to kind of sneak around and get away from it, but the alien will always appear in places wherever you go, really. The pathfinding sort of thing, to use a video game sort of developer word, is the pathfinding. So it always knows what path you're going, it always knows where you are, and it will follow that route, but it will never be direct unless you play on the harder difficulty, I would imagine. Yeah, and also like the alien learns. So if you use the this is what a friend told me of what I've seen through gameplay. If you use the fire flamethrower too much, it will learn and it won't work and stuff like that. Like the other things, like you have to use things sparingly. You've got to be clever. You've got to outsmart one of the smartest creatures in all of the galaxy. So yeah, not much. Not much is on your side, but that's the whole point of trying to survive, isn't it? In these survival horror games. As for sort of the development, so there's a lot that goes into development. So I've kind of sliced and taken the most interesting parts. So Creative Assembly decided to design the game more in line with Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien, as opposed to James Cameron's more action-orientated 1986 sequel Aliens. To help the designers authentically recreate the atmosphere of the film, Fox provided them with 3 terabytes of original production material, including costume photography, concept art, set design, behind-the-scene photos, videos, and the film's original sound effects recordings. Artist John Melican recalled, "It was a proper goldmine. We saw angles of things we've never seen before. During the first stage of development, the developers deconstructed the film to find out what made its setting unique. This would allow them to build new environments that were faithful to it. Similarly, the film's original soundtrack was deconstructed so that composers could identify the main cues, which would then be used as templates to extend the soundtrack and fill in the length of the game. The developers also met Alien and Blade Runner editor Terry Rollins, who would give them additional insight. Rather than go for a shiny, high-tech science fiction look, the designers opted to recreate the setting and feel of the original Alien film, using the work of concept artists Rob Cobb and Mobius. As a result, the game features a lo-fi 1970s version of what the future would look like. For example, it features clunky machinery like phone receivers, monochrome displays, and distorted CRT monitors to create period-authentic distortion on in-game monitors. The developers recorded their in-game animations onto VHS and Betamax recordings. Bloody hell, who remembers Betamax? Then filmed those sequences playing on an old curvy portable TV while adjusting the tracking settings. As digital hacking had not been conceived in the 1970s, the hacking device was built the way it would have built on the set of the film and requires players to tune into a computer signal while selecting icons on its screen. Artist John McKellen noted, "We had this rule. If a prop couldn't have been made in 1979 with the things that they had around, then we wouldn't make it either." Alien Isolation runs on a priority engine that was built from scratch by Creative Assembly, previously used in Viking Battle for Asgard. I played that game, by the way, back when I had my 360 when I first got it. That was one of the first games I ever got. Great game. Anyway, the engine was adapted to accommodate technical aspects such as the atmospheric and lighting effects and the aliens' behavioral design. The engine's deferred rendering allowed artists to place hundreds of dynamic lights in a scene and achieve great genomic detail. A major tool chain update occurred 6 months into development. Although the new tools eventually improved workflow, they initially caused major disruptions because previous work had to be discarded or ported into the new tools, taking valuable development time away from the team. The alien was designed to look similar to H.R. Geiger's original design, including the skull underneath its semi-transparent head. However, the designers did alter its humanoid legs with recurved ones to provide the alien a walk cycle that would hold up to scrutiny during longer encounters with the player. Between 70 and 80 different sets of animation for the alien were created. The alien's artificial intelligence was programmed with a complex set of behavioral designs that slowly unlocked as it encounters a player, creating the illusion that the alien learns from each interaction and appropriately adjusts its hunting strategy. As gameplay designer Gary Napier explains, "We needed something that would be different every time you played it. You're going to die a lot, which means restarting a lot. And if the alien was scripted, you'd see the same behavior. That makes the alien become predictable and a lot less scary." The save system was inspired by a scene in the film where Captain Dallas uses a key card to access Nostromo's computer, Mother. Finally, right, the developers originally planned to add a feature that would allow players to craft weapons, but the idea was ultimately discarded, according to Hope. She said, and quote, "We thought about what people would want to do in order to survive. We explored different ideas, and one of them was fashioning weapons to defend yourself. That was quite early on, but then we realized that this game isn't really about pulling the trigger." Another cancelled feature was the alien's iconic acid blood as a game mechanic, which could melt through metal like in the film. Although the feature was reportedly implemented at one point, it was removed because the developers felt it would take the game in a weird direction. Although the game is played from a first-person perspective, it was developed for a considerable amount of time in third-person view. The perspective was changed after the team realized that first-person changed the gameplay experience significantly. Hope explained that in first-person view, Alien Isolation would have become a game about jockeying the camera and looking after your avatar, but in first person it's you that's being hunted. If you're hiding under an object and you want to get a better view of your surroundings, you have to move. Development took 4 years after Creative Assembly pitched the idea to Sega. Alien Isolation was released to manufacturing on the 9th of September 2014. It is dedicated to Simon Franco, a programmer who died during development. So that is the development of Alien Isolation. To be honest, what terrifies me the most going into this game is that it's first-person view. I've gotten so used to third-person view, like looking over the shoulder of Leon or Ashley or Claire and all these sort of things. Not Ashley, sorry. I'm looking over Claire and Leon's shoulders. That the games are still terrifying. But that having that sort of added sort of like if something's behind me or something's around a corner, I can easily peek around it without having to actually, move. So knowing that I have to do this in first person, that when the alien gets me, he's got me, is terrifying. But that is the whole point of this game at the end of the day. Like you've got to think of it in the context, and this is how I'm trying to think of it, is the fact of at the end of the day, if God, hopefully not, but if the alien xenomorphs were to be real and I was to be stuck on a space station with them, I'm not third person. I'm first person, always 24/7 since the day I was born. So I'm going to be terrified. I'm going to get a first person view of the alien when he runs at me and I'm screaming like a little girl and hopefully he kills me quickly. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's to heighten that fear. It's to heighten that sense of survival, and it's really going to terrify me. And I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not. But now I'm saying it, I remind myself that I said the same things. If you listen to my review of Resident Evil 2, I said the exact same things then. I went in, I was terrified. I was like, I didn't want to stop doing the introduction because it meant I had to go off and play it. And I exactly sound the same now, and it's kind of funny. Like I want to play survival horror games. I love the genre of survival horror. I played quite a few, and I want to play more, but they terrify me. I love a horror movie. Don't get me wrong, but there's a difference between watching a horror film and playing a horror film. When you are sitting back and you're relaxed and you're not in control, then you can properly enjoy yourself. When you are the one that makes the story move forwards because you're actually in control, then it's a completely different experience, and I can't explain why. It's just different. And yeah, I'm going to be playing this game with headphones on, which is going to be even more terrifying, but I figured it makes a lot more sense because it might give me an edge because I might be able to hear the alien before he hears me, so I can kind of guess as to where he is, or maybe not, and I just terrify myself. We will see. Honestly, I did it for you guys. Just remember that. That's all you've got to remember. I'm doing this for you. I'm terrifying and pooping my pants for you guys for Halloween, for this Halloween special, to wrap up Halloween properly, to be properly terrified and scared. And that's the whole point of this time of year. So, without further ado, God's sake. Oh, it's like I'm going to get on a roller coaster. Right. I'm going to go off and play Alien Isolation and be brave, and I'm going to complete it to full, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to stop until I've completed it. I'm going to do that now, sadly. You guys don't have to wait that long. In a couple seconds after the interlude, you will hear if I'm brave or if I am not, or if I've been cocky or what. We will see. You will definitely see a difference in how I am now to how I am once I've finished it. So yeah, sadly, here I go. Wish me luck, guys. Right, so here we are, finally, at the Alien Isolation review. At the get-go, right at the beginning, I have to be completely open and honest with you all and admit that I did not complete this game. I wimped out. This trial, this gauntlet, this challenge, to be honest, because that's what it was. It was more of a gauntlet and a challenge than a video game. But it defeated me. I got to the sixth mission and I tapped out. I wimped out. I couldn't go any further. I was like, I was going to give myself a heart attack. I posted on Twitter near to the end of September. I don't know if anybody saw it or not, where I just did one slice, one image of like when the alien first killed me in the game, and it was completely unfair, and he was out of nowhere, and literally he just appeared, and it was terrifying, and I had a heart attack, and every consecutive time after that I died was basically the same thing. I'd go around, I'd check the scanner, he wasn't there, I'd peek around, I'd sneak out, and as soon as I'd sneak out, he disappears. It's kind of like the Flash. 1 minute he's not there, next minute he is. It was terrifying. I had a heart attack all the way through. But I wimped out, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself because whenever I do a review, I always try to finish whatever it is to completion, whether it is a video game, a movie, a book. I try to get as far as I can, and majority of the time, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I always finish. But there are the rare moments, like with this, where I just couldn't go any further. This is not like Resident Evil. This is not like the evil within. It's not like any survival horror games I've played up until this point. This is its own organism. It's its own thing. It's its own species. It's separate from all those. It is terrifying. It is horrible. It is incredible. But at the same stage, I had to tap out. And I was really disappointed with myself. But then I thought to myself, one, I have to be honest, because that is the whole point of doing this podcast, is to be completely open and honest with you all. And I want to stick by that. I want to always be honest and truthful as much as I can. But also, I thought it'd be quite interesting because so I played this on the Xbox, and one thing that I love about the Xbox, so upon many things, but one thing that I love about the Xbox is that when you go on the achievements for any video game, it will tell you percentage of gamers that unlocked it. So you'll always find that the first ever achievement you unlock, say like 70% of gamers unlock this. And then as you go through the achievements, they will vary in difficulty if how many people got them or not. If it's under 10%, it's a rare achievement. If it's over 10%, it's not, right? And I love this. And it's a little thing, and a lot of people don't really, it doesn't matter to a lot of people, but to me, I quite enjoy looking at how and where I am in sort of the leaderboards of other gamers. Again, because I'm an achievement hunter, I love the hunt for achievements. And I thought it'd be interesting to actually look into, at the beginning here, before we get into my first impressions, of the people, how far sort of Xbox gamers got through this game. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So the first ever achievement that you get in this game would be Awake, which is when you can first complete sort of the prologue, sort of the introduction. 65.73% of gamers unlock this, which is quite high, which is quite standard for people that play a video game, right? It's what you would expect, okay? So as we go, we got find a flight recorder, 72.82% of people. So like you find a flight recorder, that's the first collectible. Again, bush, bash, bosh. A lot of people had that. Constructed an item, 41.93% of people. Found an ID tag, 42.23%. Little things here and there. It's still quite high. Now we get to the second mission. Welcome to Sebastopol. 38.46% of people. So it's dropped. So not many people that actually did the introduction got that far through to the first level, right? Then, you have She's in the Vents, which is used the vent system 20 times. 23.14% of gamers got that. Then you've got the perfect organism, right? This is when you first encounter the alien. When you first meet the alien, you'll get this achievement. It will pop automatically. Right, so it was 38.46% of gamers completed Welcome to Sebastopol. Right, after that, it's dropped substantially to 29.70% of people. Right, this is where it gets funny. Next mission, A Hunt Begins. That's 25.8% of gamers. So it's dropping. It's starting to go. And wait until we get until near the end game. It drops so quickly. And I know exactly when it drops and why, because I got to that position myself. Right, so you do that. Then you've got where is it now? Where was it? There it is. You Shouldn't Be Here, which is the next mission. That was 17.85% of people, and it keeps going. So I got to level. Hold on, let me find it in the achievements now. I got it to the 6th mission, right? So it was 17%. For that last one, right? This is the 5th mission, 13.38% of gamers, right? 6th mission, where I tapped out, only 10.79% of people completed it. I completed it with a heart attack and I gave up. That was it. I'm done. I was like, I'm finished. But it keeps going lower. 7th mission, only 10.38% of gamers, right? The 10th, so I'm skipping a bit because the achievements are a bit balked here. So if I can find the 8th quickly. No, not the 15th, not the 17th. I want the 8th. Oh, God, I can't find it. Anyway, we'll just move straight on as it goes on anyway. So if we come back up to where I was. So 10th mission, only 8.58% of gamers. 11th mission, 8.32% of gamers. The 12th, 10.8. 13th, 7.87. This is where they start getting into the rare. This is where they're classed as rare achievements because people are just tapping out. Then you've got complete the game on any difficulty. So this is just completing the game completely, right? Only 6.67% of Xbox gamers have completed this game. And I can go on with all the other achievements, and I can talk about the percentages because they just get lower and lower. The 14th mission, 7.38%. The 15th mission, 7.24%. The 16th mission, 6.99%, and it just drops. And the reason I mention it is the fact of I am quite proud to know that if I go back up to where I was with the 6th mission, where I tapped out, so me, I am part of the 10.79% of gamers that tapped out. And I'm happy to be in the 10%. That's still a win to me that I got that far. And granted, heart attack, anxiety, but I got that far. And like I said, it's a gauntlet, it's a challenge. I would have loved to complete this game. I've watched loads of playthroughs and loads of people like reviewing it and talking about it up and to like get myself prepared for this review. But there's just it's different to seeing somebody else play it to you playing it. When you're in the hot seat, when you're in control, is a whole different beast. So I'm quite proud of myself that I'm off the 10% of players. Would have liked to get under 10% and go further? Absolutely. But I tapped out, and I can understand why a lot of people started to tap out when you get to like the 5th or 6th mission, because it just gets difficult. But I feel like I've played enough where I could at least talk about my experience. But I wanted to be completely honest right at the beginning with you all, and also kind of show that it's not just me. You know, other people tapped out as well. I'm not the only wimp here. There are other people that tapped out with this game. So I wanted to just defend my honor a little bit. As we're going on to my first impressions, obviously, again, this game, I will be honest, and I know it's kind of contradictory to me wimping out and what I said just, but this is an incredible game. Don't sort of take my words as negative. Even though they seem negative, they're not. This game is incredible. It is one of the best survival horror games I've ever played, I've ever experienced, because generally what this game does is that you don't really meet the alien until a little bit into the game. The first few levels are the introduction, are the tutorial, are teaching you how to be quiet, basically. Because if you've watched any of the Alien movies, you know your biggest power is silence. The quieter you can be, the more chance you have of surviving. And I'm a big lover of aliens. I've watched all the Alien movies. I even recently watched Alien Romulus, which I haven't seen it. It's incredible. I highly recommend it. But I'm one of those people, when I watch alien movies, I'm like, you're being too loud. Don't go over there. Don't look in that egg. There's a face hugger over there. Don't do it. And again, from watching these movies, I've learned how to kind of deal with the alien, or at least I thought I knew how to deal with a xenomorph. Apparently I don't, because I died many times, unfairly in my opinion. But still, that being said, this game, what it does, it's incredible, and it uses that idea of tension. The first few levels are to kind of teach you to be quiet, how to deal with other humans that are on the station, how to deal with androids, and then it throws the alien at you, and then it gets tougher. And even before the alien's there, they do a lot of incredible sound design, a lot of tension building. You can hear things in the vents moving. You can hear other people running around the station. You can hear gunshots in the background. You can hear that the station's alive, that there is something here. You won't see it yet, but it's there. It's hunting you. It's in the background. And that is, like, don't get me wrong, the xenomorph itself is terrifying, and I had many heart attacks, but it wouldn't be as terrifying if it wasn't for the music and the tension. If this game didn't do such a cracker job at building tension, that those moments when the alien does get me would still be scary, but they wouldn't be as scary. And what Creative Assembly is able to do here with this game is honestly incredible. Even though that I wimped out, that's still a testament to incredible game design level and character development and AI and music, and just everything about it is just wow. And especially if you're an Aliens fan as well. Again, like I said, we've all seen the movies, we've all experienced it, not firsthand, but secondhand, of these characters that we love and we're interested and we enjoy trying to survive in these situations. And we all sit there and go, "Oh, I wonder how would I survive." I'd die straight away. I know I would, and it's fine. I've come to terms with that. I died many times unfairly, in the game, but it was still one of those things where I would try my best to sneak around because this game is mostly all stealth. This is a stealth game. Don't expect running and gunning. Don't expect being able to defend yourself. Like no, the thing about this game, I never got as far to getting the stun baton or the flamethrower or the Molotov, sadly. But I managed to kind of experience the game for what it was, and for what it was, it is a stealth game. The game gives you revolver, it gives you noisemakers, it gives you things to be, to defend yourself, but you're not going to use them. It's like giving you a gun, which they do, and it's like, yeah, you can use this gun, but if you use it, you're basically signing your own sort of grave, your death warrant, because as soon as you use it, it's too loud, and the alien will come. And so it's like you get it, and it's incredible, but you can't use it. And it's like that for a lot of things. It's like you get it, great, wonderful, but you can't use it because it will alert the alien. So you've got to be clever. So what I was doing most of the time was if there's ever humans or androids, I would just try my best to sneak around the humans and just use the humans as bait. Of like, look, the Xeno's going to attack the humans. It's survival of the fittest. They were the ones stupid enough to shoot guns and shout and be loud. So they're going to be bait, and I'm going to run around and try to survive. And it worked majority of the time. The alien was still clever enough to find me, but it worked. And it really, that's really my first impressions. It just kind of, how can I explain it? It really just gives you that sense of this is real. And because it's in first person as well, it feels like it's me. It feels like I am Ripley, that I am underneath the gurney, I'm underneath the desk, I'm hiding in the closet, or I'm trying my best to move myself away. Because one of the things I love is that when you're hiding in a cupboard, you have to lean yourself back, and then when the alien's nearby, so the alien can't hear you, because the alien will get sneaky up against the vent. And a couple of times, if you hide in the vents or you hide in the cupboards for too long, the alien will get wary of this. The AI of the alien will realize this and learn, and it will start checking them. To a point where I thought I was safe, leaning back, like, I'm cool, and all of a sudden he just rips the door open and kills me. Terrifying. Didn't expect it. And it was like many moments like that where I was just like, I can't do this. I've got a Fitbit on, my heart's going 100 miles an hour, and because this game doesn't automatic save, you have no auto saves in this game. It is generally the fact of you need to save, and you need to find a save point. And it's not even the fact of you get to the save point, press save, and it saves instantly. Like, no, you've got to put your key card in and wait 3 seconds. So that's 3 seconds of tension of like, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. Then it saves. And then it's that terrifying thought, because sometimes when you go to save, if the alien or hostiles are near you, it will save like press A and then brackets hostiles nearby to kind of tell you like, look, you can save now, but there's a potentiality that the alien or whoever's nearby and they're going to get you. So hide and then save. But again, it's that thing of like, well, I didn't save for like 10, 15 minutes. And if the alien kills me now, or the android or whatever kills me, I'm buggered. I'm done. And that happened a couple of times, and it does get frustrating. I don't mind a stealth game. I love Dishonored. I've played all the Dishonored games. I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed. I don't mind a stealthy sort of game. But when this whole game is just stealth, and you get to sort of the level design, and you realise it is just go from point A to point B, it can get a bit repetitive and a little bit annoying. And you, even though you get terrified that the alien is there, you get to one point where you've got the alien, the sort of Joes, the robots, the androids, the synthetics, and then you've got humans all in one, and then you've got to dodge them all. And it's like, it's I can see why people tap out. Well, I know I did it myself, but I can see why people tap out. It's very, very scary. It is, and it's nerve-wracking, and it's like, okay, I've got to go from point A to point B, but between me and point A to point B is a whole lot of trouble, and it's scary because sometimes he's just hiding in the vents, and you learn quickly. I almost ran under a vent once, but I stopped myself because I noticed that there was slime, that there was like gunk coming from it, and obviously I've seen Alien, I know what that means, I know what that gunk is, and it was one of those where I'm like, no, not this time. So I waited I hid under a gurney, and eventually the slime stopped, and then I heard movement as if like the alien was moving. But if I had moved just a couple inches forwards, he would have come down and grabbed me and killed me, you know. And then sometimes you have these vents and you're in pitch blackness and you can't see the slime, so you're running, like I'm fine, the alien's not around me, and then like that. It's bum clenching moments, and it's like, oh god, you know. And there were many moments like that. It's still an incredible game. Just be ready for sneaking. Get ready for, you know, having a heart attack. Get ready for like those bum clenching moments. Like I would happily pay somebody to come to my house and complete this game for me because I can't do it anymore. I've done it. I tried. I just couldn't. But that's my first impressions. As for like my thoughts on the story, like I said, the game is all stealth. You know, being as quiet as much as you can. And the story follows Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, and you're basically tasked of trying to find what happened to the Nostromo. So this takes place, I think, 15 years after I think it's 15 years or so after the events of Alien. And Sebastopol Station has found the flight recorder from the Nostromo, and you go in with a team of Weyland-Yutani corporate men to basically get this flight recorder to find what happened, because obviously Weyland-Yutani, we all know the story of them as to why they're interested in the Nostromo, because of the Xenomorph and the alien, and obviously Rook told them all about it. And you basically go in there to figure out what happened. The issue being the fact of as soon as you get there, you realize very quickly that things have already gone to pot. That there is a Xeno already aboard. You don't know that at first, but you quickly start to learn there is something on board. There is a creature, and like I said, with the tension building, like you don't see the alien for a good few levels, but you have that tension building as you go through the story. You just hear sound, you hear gunshots in the background, you hear the echoes, shall we say, of people running around throughout the station, of screams, of things crawling in the vents. And there were many times where like I'd open a vent and I would flash my light, and then I'd be like, okay, it's safe, I'll crawl in. But I was always terrified every time I went into an event that any moment I'm just going to hear something behind me, or I'm going to go around a corner and he's just going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I was ready for it because it could happen, because he uses the vents as much as I do. So yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. But from where I got to in the story, you quickly sort of realize that the gameplay and the story are one and the same. You know, it's trying to sneak around, it's trying to survive, it's trying to, you know, find the flight recorder. You find the collectibles, the Nostromo logs, which I'll get to later. Finding people, survivors, and trying your best to figure out what's going on, and then eventually your mission is to kind of get rid of to escape the station. And from watching gameplay and stuff like that from other people, eventually you try to get rid of the aliens, because there's a hive infestation, and there's loads of them growing like in the bowels of the station, and then you're trying to basically rescue yourself, but also get off the ship and destroy the ship. And obviously I never got that far, but from where I got to with the story, I thought it was interesting. I liked to enjoy it, and it was. I'm glad that they did it as a continuation of the story. Because again, with Aliens, and what I loved about Romulus is kind of takes place as well after Aliens. And I won't spoil Romulus for anybody, because there's a high potentiality not many people have watched it. If you haven't watched it, again, I recommend it. But it does take place after Alien, and I love how that one incorporated the story and continued the story on from there. And I loved it here. As an Aliens fan, it was just nice to see more of carrying on this world, carrying on this story. To slot it into place. So for the story, I loved it. As I mentioned, the gameplay, it's very stealth. It's trying to be as quiet as possible. There were many times when I was, like I said, I was watching the humans and they were being loud, and I'm like, no, you're gonna die. And like when they give you a revolver, they even give you an achievement to using the gun, and it's like one of those things of like, I want the achievement, but I don't. And there's also achievement for killing an android as well. So what I did was that I think it was level 3. I don't think the alien appears, or at least I didn't see the alien until the very end. But it was one of those sort of moments where I was like, well, there's a save point right here. I've already saved, so I know I'm safe up until that save point. So I'm going to pull out the revolver and I'm going to shoot the android, and then I'm just going to reload my save. And that's what I did. And there was another achievement for killing an android with the hammerjack thing that you've got. It's not easy to do, to be honest. So I quickly stuck it behind one, get a few hits in, hit an event until like he got bored and walked away, and then repeated that, and I got about 40 gamer score. So the achievement hunter in me was still kind of alive, but after that, like it was one of those of like, okay, I got the basic easy achievements, but after that, I'm like, I'm not gonna be that brave. I'm not going to do it because it's all too loud, and I'm not going to attract the alien to me. I'm already terrified as it is. I don't want to attract more attention to myself. But that is the gameplay. It's stealth at the end of the day. So if you're not really into stealth, if you're not into kind of sneaking around and going from point A to point B, as well as all the hazards sort of involved in the middle, then it's probably not one for you. But if you like sort of the tension, if you like the horror, and you don't mind a bit of stealth, then I think you'd enjoy it. As for the art, like 70s retro futuristic feel, it feels exactly like the movies. As I mentioned in the introduction, they got help from Fox. They got all the archives that are able to look at models and things like that. Like one of the things that I loved, and many things I enjoy and love about this game, is just the tension with the feel of the atmosphere. You know, the lighting, the sound, but also the visuals. You feel like you're in the Aliens movie. It doesn't feel like someone's just taken a space station and put, you know, a xenomorph into it. Like, no, it generally feels like this station belongs in this universe. That, you know, that 70s feel of it. You know, you've got these old-fashioned sort of CRT sort of screens and monitors and flickers, and you've got these computers that you'd think would be incredibly advanced for the century that we're in, but still seem very old-fashioned and very sort of retro 70s. But I love that retro 70s futuristic look. You know, it's what I grew up on watching a lot of old science fiction films, again, Star Wars and things like that. It's what I grew up with. So to me, it was just pure nostalgia of being an Aliens fan, of being a fan of these old-fashioned 70s science fiction movies, and even the 80s as well. You know, just trying to like take what we've got and then try to hyper futuristic style look of it. I just love it. Again, the alien design is more of the H.R. Geiger design, so it's a lot more terrifying, a lot more creepy. This alien has the transparent dome, so you can actually see the skull underneath. And yeah, it's just terrifying, but it needs to be. But like I said, the alien, the xenomorph in himself is terrifying, but as I know I keep coming back to it, but it's the music, it's the tension building, it's all that makes the xenomorph more terrifying. It would be terrifying in itself without it, but when you add on those layers of tension, when you add in, you know, the lighting, when you add in everything, all the design and the whole feel of it, you get sucked in so quickly that you can't help not just feel terror. You know, there was a system, and I don't have a Kinect, but there is a system with the Kinect, if you have one, where you've got noise detection on the Kinect. So like if you had a Kinect and you turn that on, if you're being loud in the room, if somebody walks in and goes, "Hi Jimmy, how was work?" You'd be like, "Shh, shut the fuck up." You know what I mean? You'd be like, "You just got me killed." You know, it'd be one of those. Sorry for that if I've blown anybody's ears out. If you're listening with headphones, I do apologize. But, you know, it had that feature, and I thought that would have been really cool. And you have the feature as well that with the Kinect that you could, you know, if you moved your head left and right, that would move the head of the character. So when you was leaning, you could actually lean with your head and actually look around, and the sort of Amanda would do it as well. And it's a little feature that I never got to use, but that would add to the tension as well. That would add to the fear. That would add to the overall feel of like, I'm going to die. I need to be quiet. Literally, I need to be quiet. My heart's going 10 to dozen, but I need to be silent, because if I'm not silent, I'm going to die. And yeah, like that would have been a cool feature to at least test out. Never got to do it, but it is everything about this game in terms of the art style and the feel of it and the tension. 10 out of 10, incredible. There are collectibles. Like you can find some station logs, you can buy some ID tags. So sort of station logs kind of give you background story of the people that lived on Sebastopol Station. before it all went to hell. You get to read about the day to day, what people are up to, and as you start going through the levels and you read more logs, you actually realise that a lot of people, and you kind of see as to why the downfall. You can realise the people that were here, because it was just a skeleton crew. The Sebastopol station was kind of like derelict. It was being shut down. Corporate didn't want to fund it anymore, so they were just left a skeleton crew to sort of take apart as much as possible. And then that was it, right? So it wasn't many people here. It was just like an engineer and a couple people left on the station to kind of shut everything down. And you quickly learn that these people realize, like, oh, there's something here. There's something going on more than what they're telling us. And then you read more of the logs and people are terrified. And it's really fascinating. It's a really great bit of world building. There are many times where I risked my own life just to read some of these logs and listen to the audio logs because they were just so well done and so fascinating. And I wanted to know more about the people, about the struggle, about what it was like when people were first going missing, where there were more people on the ship and they didn't realize what was there. They didn't realize they needed to be quiet and things like that. Like that to me is the essence of Alien and the terrifying side of it and what we love, to be honest. And then you find ID logs. These ID logs are just collectibles that you find here and there. They're the pictures of the developers and things like that. And then one of the really cool ones, which I sadly never got to find any of them because they were behind locked doors, or they were in parts where to find them you had to put yourself in harm's way and danger to find them. So I never got to find any of them because I was always a wimp and I was just like, look, I've done the objective. I'm going to the point A again. I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. I'm not going to detour because I'm going to put myself in more danger. So I never found any of these, but there are Nostromo flight logs. And one of the things that's incredible about these, and I've listened to them all on YouTube to understand and to really appreciate what they are, even though I never got to find any in the game, just appreciate for what they were doing here. So you can find Nostromo fight logs with dialogue from the original cast. So the original surviving cast, like Sigourney Weaver and the rest of them. I was going to say the more names, but I completely blanked and all their names. All I can remember is Sigourney. But all the original cast came back and they did a lot of the voice cast, and they're kind of just like talking about their experiences, what's going on the ship, and them being not sure, and really, really fascinating. Again, if you're an Aliens fan, they are just an extra bits of nostalgia. But like I said, I never found any in the game because I never got that far. I never detoured. I was literally like, I've got one directive to get from here to here. And I'm not going to deviate from the path, because if I deviate from the path, curiosity kills the cat. I haven't saved in 15 or so minutes. I'm not doing it. I'm just not, So I didn't. I wish I did, but I didn't. I wasn't brave enough. Yeah. But yeah, so we're coming near to my overall thoughts now of this game. Like, my overall thoughts are, even though that I was a wimp and I tapped out, I still wholeheartedly, and I know this is going to sound very sort of very backwards, but trust me in this, despite my experiences with it, I would happily recommend this to people. More so if you like stealth games. And if you're an Aliens fan, I would say to give it a go. Just honestly, even if you don't complete it, just for you to see how far you can get. I got to the 6th mission and I tapped out, and it looks like most people did as well. Probably some people actually tapped out way before then. So I recommend it for that. But at the same stage, I would happily, and I would love to see a sequel. Granted, when it came out, would I be the first one to play it? No, sirree, Bob. I would probably wait a year or two until I was brave enough, and then I'd probably get it when it was on sale. But I would happily see a sequel. Will we ever get a sequel? I don't think so, because if I remember correctly, this game didn't actually sell very well. It actually didn't do as well as Sega was hoping for. So there's a high potentiality that we'd never get a sequel to this, which is a shame. But what I would love to see, and I was watching a lot of reviews leading up to this, just to kind of get a feel of the sense of the game, because again, this game came out years ago, and I wanted to get actual people's feelings at the time of what they felt. And I was watching the review by Angry Joe, and he made a really good point in the review, and I really agree with him. He basically made a point where he would love to see kind of alien cloning Marines like the game of Alien Colonial Marines, which I played and reviewed in my first season of the podcast, and take that idea of you're a Colonial Marine, but add in alien isolation. So taking the mechanics of alien isolation, but also make you a sort of Colonial Marine, give you a gun that you can actually use to defend yourself. And how incredible would that be? Like, I know what makes this game so terrifying is the fact of you have no way to defend yourself. You are the prey. That is it. You've got no way to really defend yourself. All you've got to do is dodge, duck, dive, and dodge. Basically, the 5Ds are dodgeball. You've just got to hide. You've got to, cower away until it's safe, and then you run out. And you are prey. That is all you are. But what I would love is, like, as a Colonial Marine, kind of like they did. I don't know if anybody ever played it. If anybody ever played Alien versus Predator on the Xbox 360, I think I still have the copy of it, to be honest. But that was a great game. I love that. It was 3 games in one. But one of the sort of games that you could play, one of the campaigns, was as a Colonial Marine, and that was terrifying. Like, it was really well done. It wasn't as scary as this, but it was terrifying going through as a Colonial Marine, having the scanner go boo, 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 and then knowing that an alien's running at you, a Xeno, and it was great. And I would love a proper Aliens Colonial Marines game, but I want to be terrified. I want it to be, think Resident Evil meets Alien. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to shoot. I want to be able to defend myself, but also I want to be terrified. I want those moments of, like, I ran out of ammo, bugger it. Okay, I've got to hide, scrounge some ammo. Right, I've got some ammo. I can probably pick off 1 or 2, but I've got to be careful because I don't want to make too much noise. So, I want that sort of, like, that running gun, but I also, the fact if I get caught, I want to be able to properly defend myself. I know you can in this game, that you can throw Molotovs and you can use the flamethrower and stuff like that to kind of scare the Xenomorph off. But I want to be a Colonial Marine. I think that would be great. Taking the idea of the Colonial Marines and Alien Isolation, put them together, I feel like that would be a match made in heaven, and I would really like to play that game. And yeah, so that is kind of like my overall thoughts, is the fact of, even though I wimped out, even though I didn't get very far and I didn't complete it, I would still recommend this game to survival horror fans if you haven't played it already. I would recommend it to Alien fans just to see how far you'll get. Maybe you'd be braver than me and you complete it, maybe not. But yeah, just be sort of wary, just be ready. The fact of this game is terrifying. It is scary. It is all sneaky base. Like, don't think just because you get given a gun that you can defend yourself. Like, no, it doesn't work. You can shoot these all day, every day, and it'll just keep coming at you. It doesn't work. So yeah, get ready for stealthing. Get ready for going point A to point B. And I'd say that's my only real negative about it, is the fact of the levels aren't really... the level design is incredible, but the actual missions, they're not very intuitive. They're not very clever. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's more just the fact of, it is very much the fact of, all right, you're in point A, elevator. You've got to go to point B to find a key code. So you sneak to point B. Get to point B. Okay, now you've got to go back to point A, on the other side of where you've just come, to put that key card in, to then get another elevator or a tram station or whatever to do this. And it's very much the fact of that is what it is. And then in the middle of that, you're sneaking around robots, synthetics. You're sneaking around humans. You're sneaking around the Xeno, and it's great and it's terrifying, but also it can get quite boring and repetitive, and like I said, annoying as well, because the game doesn't auto save, so you can do all that, sneak through, and get the key card, and make your way either to the end or make your way to a save point. And just before you get there, the Xeno gets you, or somebody gets you, kills you, or somebody makes loads of noise, attracts people to you, tracks the Xeno to you. And then that's it. That's 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of gameplay that you've now got to do all over again. And I understand why they don't have auto system, because it makes it more terrifying and scary of, like, look, you've got to make sure that you're saving because again, survival situation. Like, I get it. But you kind of forget that one thing that we take for granted nowadays with modern gaming is that, if we forget to save, it's okay, because you always have autosave to back you up. Because back in the day when I was younger, there were a lot of games where you didn't have autosave. Like, if you didn't save yourself, that's it. that is gone. There is no save data. You had to manually do it yourself, and you had to remember to do it yourself. So it wasn't a new concept to me, but it just shows how much you take the save systems for granted nowadays. And that was what kind of the only negative I've got, which got annoying, was the fact of just having to go from point A to point B, and then having to go all the way back to point A while dodging everything and trying your best to remember, did I save? Didn't I not save? Crap. All right, I'll save. Oh, all right, he's got me, killed me, heart attack. Oh, well, that's it. I've now got to do that all over again. And it just adds to the annoyance. But some people might see that as a challenge. Some people might go, you know what? I'm going to let it deter me. I'm going to push on it. I'm going to try something new or try a different method, Or some people might be like, you know what? That's annoying. I'm not interested. Tap out. Again, all gamers, shapes and sizes, we all got different tolerances. But again, I always say, give it a go, try it. You never know, you might like it, you might be good at it, you might not be, but you won't know till you try. And that is kind of my final thoughts on it, is the fact of, if you're a fan of aliens, or if you're a fan of survival horror or not, give it a go, see how far you get, see if you're braver than me. If you are and you get further, by all means, let me know. I don't mind. Tell me if I'm a wimp. I'm a big man. I can take it. But yeah, just give it a go. That is my sort of overall thoughts. Now, for the crucial moment, the whole thing that we've been waiting for. Is it worth the £5 entry fee or not? Yes, it is. But it's worth the £5 incredibly. I wouldn't have paid full price for this, because the reason I wouldn't pay full price is kind of the reason why I haven't bought Cuphead. Cuphead fascinates me. I've mentioned it a couple of times. I love the idea, the concept of Cuphead. I think it looks gorgeous, and I really want to support the developers. But the only reason why I wouldn't pay full price for Cuphead is because I know that I would play it. It'd be too difficult, frustrate me, and I'd get really bad buyer's remorse. And it'd be one of those moments where I'd be like, I've just wasted money on a game that I can't play. Even though it's going to an incredible developer, that's just how my brain would work. So I never would. And it's the same with this. It's the fact that if I bought this game day one, and I would be annoyed at myself more if I paid full price and only got 6 levels in and then tapped out, But because I paid £5, I'm more than happy to get as far as I can, to treat it as a challenge, treat it as a gauntlet, and then tap out after 6 levels and go, you know what, that's it, I'm done, I'm fine. I've got my fill. I've got all I need from this game. I'm happy, right? That is, I would have been fine with that. And I am fine with that. So I would say, yes, it is worth it for that aspect, because again, this game is terrifying. It's scary. I probably wouldn't have paid a bit more because, again, like I said, buyer's remorse. But yeah, if you can find it for £5 or less, by all means, give it a go. You might be the same as me. You might not get buyer's remorse. You might go, you know what? I only got 2 levels in. I tapped out, and that's fine. But you only spent a £5, so you're not missing out. But if I had spent like 49 quid, almost 50 quid on this game when it first came out, and I'd only got as far as I did, I would be kicking myself, and I would be disappointed, really. I'd get really bad buyer's remorse, and this would be a proper one of those moments where I'd sit there and go, I hate myself, But like I said, I got it for a £5. You can probably find it cheaper online. The game's always on sale for I think the cheapest I've ever seen this game on sale on the Xbox store has to be about 2-3 quid. So you can actually buy it for a lot cheaper than I got it for on the Xbox store whenever there's a sale. So by all means, grab it when it's on sale. Probably don't pay full price if you don't feel confident that you'd be very good or very brave in this game. If you do feel full on confident and brave, then by all means pay as much as you'd like. But if you're on the fence and you want to give it a go, but you don't want to break the bank, then by all means it is worth a £5. Get it when it's on sale. Get it at cheap. Don't spend full price, because you might be disappointed with yourself, or you might not be. Again, you might be different. But yeah, that is it for my sort of review for Alien Isolation. Again, thank you very much for sticking with me for this long. Like I said, I do apologise for not properly completing it. I did try. I got 6 levels in. That's still 10% of the player base who actually played this game. So I'm not overly disappointed with myself. I'm still kind of very proud of myself I got that far. But even so, I just wanted to be open and honest with you all at the very beginning. And yeah, so that's it, really. That is kind of the end of my Halloween extravaganza, really. I hope you've enjoyed all the other Halloween content that I've done for October. Hope you really enjoyed this one. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next for my £5 bargain or bin. I know I said this in my last one that I did, but I haven't got any plans. I'm currently scouring the marketplaces on the Xbox Store. Every Tuesday they do a sale, and the deals get refreshed. So I'm keeping track on there. I'm looking at different sort of games, games I never played before, or games I haven't played, like remasters and things like that I want to give a go. So I'm having a look. Hopefully soon I'll be able to find something, and we can. I'll be back with this series. If you're enjoying this series, please let me know down in comments on Twitter or YouTube or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Write down comments or let me know if you like it. Give me feedback. Tell me if I'm a wimp. Tell me if I'm brave. Tell me how far you got. Like, if you played this game, I want to know, how far did you get? Did you complete it? Did you get as far as I did, or did you not get as far as I did? Did you tap out early? I just want to know, like, how far did people get with this game? And like, I want to know the people that were brave enough to complete it, and I want to see the people that were like me and were like, you know what, I played it, I experienced it, but I had to tap out, So I'm interested to hear all those things. But again, if you want to, by all means, you can reach me on Twitter at Nerdstalgic_pod. Again, if you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And finally, if you listen to this on Spotify on your mobile phone, don't forget to leave a star rating and follow the podcast as well, so you never miss an episode on Spotify. So that is all she wrote. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to go off now and rest my beating heart, because it's still pumping from this game, and it probably take me a while before my heart slows down. So until then, I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.